You put in 20 hours on your creative work, fitting that time in around your day job, and it still feels like you didn't do enough. But what if you don't have an actual progress problem, but rather a progress accounting problem? Give me the next few minutes and I'll show you what makes this happen so often and why the solution has nothing to do with working even harder. As a bonus resource, if you want our round view of creative work map, which shows all the kinds of work that is part of making real progress on the creative adventure, drop round below and I'll DM it to you. I'm Christine Karen, founder of Good Jelly. I work with people who care deeply about their creative work, and I help them make progress that's not just reliable, but inevitable. That feeling at the end of the week, like you worked hard but have nothing to show for it, is one of the most common experiences I hear from people who are on a mission to get meaningful creative work out into the world. And almost universally, they conclude, I need to do more, I need to work harder. But when I ask them what did they get done, they can point to a long list of work that supported their progress and momentum. So why the disconnect? It's because all that work didn't result in a finished piece of work, or even as much progress toward the finished piece of work as they wanted. And the old school productivity paradigm we've all been trained in tells us that only the finished piece of work counts. Or at best, we only get to count what materially contributes to that final polished output. That narrow definition of progress leaves out so much work that is part of the creative process, like a portrait painter cleaning his brushes, or an academic researching relevant behavioral models, or a musician practicing long notes to increase breath support. In the old paradigm, none of that counts, no matter that it's work like that that makes finished pieces of creative work possible. But because the old school productivity paradigm is so strong, people discount that work. They decide they are the problem, that they aren't working hard enough, and they try to push harder or carve out more time. Even worse, they try to cut out anything that doesn't directly move the project forward, meaning they're trying to game the creative process itself. This is why the old school productivity paradigm is so detrimental to sustainable long-term progress. It sets up an impossible standard, incessant productivity. It makes people constantly feel like they have a productivity problem, when what they really have is an accounting problem. And the accounting problem is a symptom of a deeper problem, a creative authority problem. They've let the old school productivity paradigm set the standard for what they can and cannot claim as progress. But that old paradigm is not who is doing the work. They are doing the work. And if your mental model says a huge amount of the work you are doing doesn't count, how motivating is that? It's not motivating at all. In fact, it is anti-motivating. It makes you believe that legit work that is part of the creative process is you wasting your time, doing the wrong things, procrastinating, resisting, and even not being professional. That is friction, mental friction. It makes it harder to do all the work that has to be done to have a successful creative adventure, from the more mundane work to keeping your workspace organized, to brainstorming, to marketing, to networking, to basic creative renewal. All of that and more is legit necessary work. And the reality is you have to do all that necessary work and still produce the finished piece of work. That is challenging. The old paradigm tries to solve that challenge by declaring all the other work is just not as important. But that is like saying a bow is not important to an archer. Without the bow, it's a whole lot harder to get the arrow into the target. We know deep down that all that work keeps us organized or helps us stay focused or ensures the work gets the attention it deserves. And it is important and necessary. But the old paradigm puts us in a mental bind by telling us that work is getting in the way of what it has deemed is the real creative work. The way out of that bind is to decide you get to decide what counts as progress, not a paradigm that isn't serving you. When you do, you're not only taking charge of what counts as progress, you're also taking charge of how you're getting your creative work done. Then you can freely use all the tools and skills that are part of your metaphorical bow to get that arrow into the target with greater ease and speed. And remember, if you want our round view of creative work map, which shows all the kind of work that is truly part of making progress, real progress on the creative adventure, drop round below and I'll DM it to you.